Halstead Telephone Company and R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is proud to present to you this broadcast on yourliveevent.com.
Hello and welcome into the yourliveevent.com robotics show. I'm your host, Mac Robinson, as we keep you up to date on all things robotics. And of course, we're going to have great conversations coming up with F.R.E.D as well as the Iron Mosquitos. But of course, we are powered by Enbridge. Before we get into the conversations a little bit later, I got a chance to sit down with the students from F.R.E.D. We'll get a chance to talk to the mentors here in just a bit, but the students from F.R.E.D, of course, 2883, got a chance to sit down with Rosalind and Kaylee as well. Got a chance to talk with both of them. Here's my conversation with F.R.E.D. And now joining me from F.R.E.D 2883, we have Rosalind and Kaylee joining me this week. And, you know, big news for your team. Obviously, you guys moving on to state there as well. You know, what's the preparation like? I know you guys got all of your teammates hard at work behind you guys over there. What's the process really been like for you guys since you found out that you guys going to state? And what's it really been like so far?
You want to elaborate on that? We've been doing a lot of like fixing up the robot, like speeding up some of the things on it. And then there's also been a lot of PR stuff that's happening, like advertising and trying to fundraise some money for that.
Yeah, so we had a fundraiser dinner last weekend. It was a big success. We had just over 300 people come out, I think. Yeah, we had enjoyed that to help fundraise for us to go to World.
That's awesome. And, you know, the other side of it, too, is that, you know, as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, especially for you guys, you know, what's the journey kind of been like from, you know, initially finding out about the game to, you know, now where you guys are at, where, you know, now you're getting ready for that state run there for you guys?
Yeah, so it's been stressful at points, and we've worked through it. It's been really fun, though, getting to go to competition and just building the robot.
Same with you, Kaylee?
Yeah.
I gotcha. And, you know, one thing that I always love too about robotics is that, you know, a lot of times, obviously, you have the big moments where, you know, you have those regional events that you're able to go to. But the other side of it too is that, you know, there's the little things that you have along the way, whether it be, you know, at the actual competitions or, you know, doing what you guys are doing right now, where you're working behind the scenes a little bit. You know, for each of you, what are some of your favorite, you know, memories along this season so far that you guys have had so far?
Do you want to start?
Okay, one of my favorite things about this season has been like coaching at the competitions, because it's just so much less stressful than being the driver, but I can still like have fun with them. And then I don't know.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is just going to the competitions and seeing like what other people's robots are and just helping the other team, like when they break their robot, rather than fixing our robot all the time.
Okay. Oh, with that being said too, what are some of your favorite designs that you've seen throughout this season?
I really like seeing the robot that shot the cones and cubes. I thought that was really cool. Another one I enjoyed watching was a team that could climb on the side of the docking station.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Kaylee, what about you? You got any favorites?
Not really. They're all just kind of the same, but in different iterations. So.
Okay, I gotcha. And, you know, the other side of it too is that, you know, there's always different aspects of robotics that, you know, you can really kind of get really into, especially, and sink your teeth into. You know, for each of you, what's something that you guys have kind of learned so far this season, you know, just from being involved in robotics, especially, and, you know, getting a chance to, you know, go through a different type of game that you guys have had this season, especially too?
So I learned that it takes more than one try to actually succeed at things.
I've learned to like work with my team a little better and how to be a leader more so this year.
Okay.
I've had to step up.
And Kaylee, you said that, you've gotten used to, or you've liked the coaching aspect of it as well. What's it like a few different stories or a few different aspects for you that really kind of stick out in your mind from this season?
It's okay. Having to figure out and communicate with the other teams is really hard for me, but been able to manage it okay. But also, communicating with my drivers is sometimes difficult because I don't know. I just had to learn that everybody has to do their own thing, and I can only do so much.
That's definitely a good lesson. Definitely a good lesson for sure. And, Rosalind, for you as well, as the season's kind of come along, especially too, I know I talked with you earlier in the year too, what's an aspect of this game, and Kaylee, you can answer after as well, but, what's an aspect of this game for you that, you might have maybe overlooked at the beginning of the year and that has really kind of changed as you've been able to experience it and get a chance to run through a couple of different events?
I'd say the communication with other teams and getting onto the charging station, because it was really hard at the first regional to get all three teams onto the charging station. But then by the end of the match, end of the competition, I guess, we got our alliance, all three robots balanced up there. So.
For me, it was getting the 5 links and figuring out where the links needed to be made. Is you can't make that many cones, but you got to make it work.
Okay. And then, I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier too, but, do you guys have any favorite stories from, whether it's something working behind the scenes or something that sticks out in your mind that, whether it's at an event or whether it's, working on one aspect of the robot in particular that just pops into your mind that's just some of the favorite stories that you guys have had from throughout the season too?
One of my favorite things so far was before the season started, we started making our swerve drive, and it was just Rosalind and I, and we just got to hang out after school and build a swerve together. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Rosalind, what about you?
I think my favorite part so far has probably been winning in Grand Forks. Just the excitement and the stress level that there was there.
Oh, I'm sure. I could tell. I mean, and with that being said too, for you guys, winning at Grand Forks, especially too, now taking that into states, especially here as well, do you think that gives you guys a little bit of an advantage of, having that kind of a success and having that underneath your belt to maybe give you guys some more confidence going in?
Yeah, I'd say it gave us a lot of confidence going into our last regional, especially. We weren't too concerned about if we'd make it into finals, even though we still tried to compete as best as we possibly could. But
and the other side of it too is that with that kind of an event where you have that larger stage more than anything too, and being able to perform like that too. For you guys getting a chance to, see some of these teams that you might run into at states as well. Do you think that also helps out, from a strategy standpoint and from a coaching standpoint, getting a chance to see some of these different teams and know their strengths and being able to work with them?
Yeah, it's really helpful. Especially I could tell at lacrosse, we played with some people at GNR, and I just knew going into lacrosse what their strengths and not strengths were, weaknesses. And I don't know, it's really helpful to have a background on them, especially for strategy.
All right. Well, Kaylee, Rosalind, thank you so much for joining me this week. Did a great job, especially looking forward to seeing how you guys do at states.
Thank you.
And that is F.R.E.D 2883 joining me this week on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show.
Restock on food, fuel, and baits at locally owned Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Station 371 has bait and tackle, quality Cenex gasoline, off-road diesel, and is the only stop with #1 diesel. Make sure to stop by to wash off the sand and salt with their indoor car wash, open when the temp is at least 26 degrees. They'll hook you up with your fishing and hunting licenses too. Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Thank you for supporting local business.
Let's get real. Get ready for a place that's big enough to grow and small enough to care. The University of Minnesota Crookston offers more than 35 majors, minors, and certificates. Earn a University of Minnesota degree, where you can make a difference in a close-knit community. Faculty become friends and friends feel like family. You don't need a big city, just big dreams. The University of Minnesota Crookston. Real, hands-on, and will get you ready for anything.
Special thanks to my conversation there with Kaylee and Rosalind, of course, of F.R.E.D 2883. I'm Mac Robinson. We're going to go ahead and pass things off as coming up next, we're going to have a conversation with Ryan Lindsay, and he sat down with Jack with a conversation right here on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show, powered by Enbridge.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Robotics Show. I am here with Iron Mosquitos coach, mentor, really whatever moniker you kind of want to put on. Ryan, team 56, 53. First and foremost, how's everything going for you, Ryan?
Pretty good, yeah. It's been a good season. Kids are on break right now, so a lot of the team is down in Florida on a band trip. So, yeah, we're trying to rest up before we head down to Houston. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You bring up Houston, so let's just start there. So you guys are going to Worlds. Tell me how the team feels about that. How you feel about it?
Yeah, we're really excited, obviously. Been doing this, I don't know, 8-9 years or something, and this is first chance to get to go down and see the big show. So we're pumped. Kind of reinvigorated the kids. They made some big changes to the robot. They put on a pneumatic system and took off our arm and intake and redid it, and we've tested, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's just kind of an honor to go see some of the best teams in the world, and these are the kind of experiences that, I don't know, make life special. So in high school and things, so it's fun to be a part of that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, talking about honors and everything else, you during the Lake Superior Regional, you guys actually won the Impact Award. Could you tell me what the Impact Award is actually? What is that about, and how do you guys win it?
Yeah, so the Impact Award they describe it as the most prestigious award, and it's really about your team as a whole. And I think somewhere in the description they say that it means your team is kind of a model for other teams to follow. So we've had just a string of good things happen the last 3 to 5 years. During the pandemic, the kids kind of they made a grocery bot to deliver groceries socially distant, right? And it was, made the kids feel really good to help their community, but then some news got a hold of it and it kind of went viral. The kids are on Disney Plus now, so that was a big feel good thing. And then we've been doing some outreach. We did senior now. He set up a couple kind of outreach camp things at the Boys and Girls Clubs near here. It was a lot of fun, and just some of the other things. The kids have really put in a lot of time, and a lot of off season work. And so the Impact Award is, you have to sell your story a bit, and it's a lot of work. And there was a lot of revisions and months of writing an essay, which every kid loves to do after a full day of school. But it's neat just to recognize these current kids, and then some of the kids that have already graduated, just to like all their efforts, like they're doing good things. So I think that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Now, you brought up the going viral and everything else, and that just kind of doing a little research like right before you jumped on. I actually found that video essay that you're talking about, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally gonna watch this. This is awesome. So with how that came to be, did everybody write an essay or a script, and just so happens like, oh yeah, no, this one's the one we're going with, or was it like, oh yeah, no, this is what's happening?
You mean as far as the video or the essay we did?
Yeah, the video.
So we had a group of 3 students that kind of said, hey, we need to get serious about doing this award. The award is a lot of work. You've got 10,000 word essay, and you can do a video submission with it. If you've ever done video work, which I think you have, like a 3-minute video, a 3-minute video that's edited with like 5-second takes and everything, and the whole script that's all smooth and seamless. It's a lot of work. And then there's an executive summary where you kind of have to say in the shortest amount of terms possible all the stuff you've done in all these different categories. So that kind of forces you to say the important things really well and really concisely. So there's a lot of, it's like a big report, is what you have to do. So there was really one girl that ended up really sinking her teeth in and spent the whole season. She wasn't working on the robot. She wasn't building fun posters and doing things. She was writing a paper. In the revision process, like she would come in and be like, hey, I think we're done. And then a coach or two would say like, this isn't good enough. We got to switch this, and this, and this. And that's incredibly hard. You know, you're putting all this time and work into something. And then when someone says, yeah, it's just not good enough, like it's tough. But she stuck with it. And yeah, turned out to be a great result. I'm really proud of her and proud of the team. You know, there are some other kids that helped out too, but she took on the brunt of it. And then we had a kid, he was on the team. He's not on the team this year, but he's going to film school. And so the students worked with him to kind of get all the video clips together. And then we kind of made a rough draft, and then he ran with it and tweaked a little bit for us for that video that you saw, which it's just neat to see some of the kids' passion, and they put some time into something, and then they have a way to. It shows when they've got a little bit of skill and they've put some time into learning how to do different edits and things. And I think he did a really nice job for us. So I tried to invite him to come along, but he's got other things going on. So.
Well, it is very well put together. It's very well said. Now, going viral. I mean, is that something? Like, how did you figure out you guys were going viral, or are you on social media enough to be like, oh, this is kind of blowing up, or was it a student just came and said, hey, we're actually kind of getting some traction on this?
Well, we thought it was pretty neat when I think it was WDIO and then KBJR down in Duluth kind of picked up the story, and then Minnesota Public Radio got a hold of it and was like, oh, this is awesome. And then first people started calling, and then we had an interview with Forbes magazine, and there was they had to sign all these releases for the Disney Plus video thing that was happening. They were putting together a documentary. We didn't really know what it was at the time, just that, hey, we'd like to use some of your clips. We did podcast interviews, so it was actually pretty neat because the pandemic was a pretty rough time and there wasn't a lot to look forward to, but it was a lot of fun. I'm in Babbitt, and people don't know where that is. Yeah. And so for the kids to say like, hey, we're in national news, like that's not going to happen again in my career, I'm guessing. So it's just neat to kind of be a part of that little, it was a feel good story in a rough time. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. We didn't really know until, I think I kind of knew when I got there was a pre-interview meeting we had to have for the Forbes thing, and there was like a 20-page like document of all these things to study and get straight. I'm like, we don't prepare this hard for a regional competition. This is like a 15-minute interview. Like it was like, this is way outside of our league. So just kids are like, yeah, whatever, we'll just go on and wing it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So it was a good experience for them.
That is so awesome. Now, turning the clock forward, Lake Superior Regional, how obviously went fantastic, winning the Impact Award. How the robot go? What do you think? How do you think everything went for you guys?
Yeah, it went pretty well. I mean, there were some things that, there's always something else you want to get done. So we were on the third or fourth place alliance. I think we lost right before going to the finals. Had we won, we'd have been in the finals. And we had some we've got the new Rev Swerve drive, which was so much fun. The wheels, there's a little bit of an engineering problem, so the wheels fall apart, and every 2 matches we were getting a new set of wheels. So Team 6045 loaned us about 30 wheels that tournament. So thank you to them to get us through. So there's some struggles, and then just some design improvements we could have had. And our autonomous wasn't, we just didn't get it built in time to really tune that in. So, but I felt we had a pretty strong tournament, and our robot's kind of designed as a support robot. Like, we cycle fast, we stay out of the people that are trying to stack cones high, and we stay at the other side of charge station. So we don't think we're gonna win the tournament, but we think we're a really solid pick and we'll be in the playoffs. And both of our tournaments this year, we've been picked by the 3rd alliance, and we know the 1st and 2nd alliance had us on their list. So that feels good. And I think if we just go out there and do our job, hopefully we fit into the overall alliance strategy. So that was rewarding, because it was a risk at the start of the season, and we had a choice to make between, we had another mentor kind of propose the concept of, like, man, if you can be this other type of robot, like, mathematically, I think that's a needed role. And there was a risk, and the kids were debating back and forth, and then some of them said, like, yeah, I think we should do that. And it's been a lot of fun to play the way we do, and I think it's sort of paid off for us. So we're pleased, and we're pleased with the results. There's always things you can do better, but the impact award kind of wipes all that stuff away. So
absolutely. Now, when you hear your name, or Iron Mosquitos team 5653 over the intercom, how did everybody react? How did you react to it?
Oh, the kids got all excited. They kind of knew, because they say this little phrase. They're like, all right, starting in the pandemic and blah, blah, blah. And then they tell a little story in the lead up. So the kids are like, yeah, that's going to be us. So they, started getting wide eyed, and then they knew right away. And, yeah, so there's different reactions. Like, there's excitement. We got to get down to the floor, and then some kids are crying, and hugs, and yeah, I mean, it feels good to win, right? Like, you feel good and to be recognized. So, and that's one of the great things about the program, is there's lots of different ways to kids to be rewarded. And, like, there's an incredible amount of work that goes in every single team that just gets there. I mean, there's so much work to make that happen. And it's, the reason the kids love it so much is because it's hard work, but they really accomplish something. And then there are those rewards out there. Let them know, like, hey, nice work. Like, it's impressive what you did. And that's important. My reaction was like, holy smokes, we have to get everyone down to Houston to be able to pay for it, and I gotta do all the logistics, and like, I'm not gonna sleep, and my season was over here in a week. So anyway, no, I'm super happy, but yeah, my mind just started cranking, and like, oh, we got a lot more stuff to figure out.
It's not over.
My wife's like, oh, yay. So, it's really fun, and it feels awesome. But yeah, I just started thinking about my checklist. That's what I started thinking about.
You mentioned your wife. I mean, it's Houston, Texas. She coming down with? Is she gonna be able to bully her way into that?
Yeah, my whole family's coming. So I've got one daughter on the team, and then 2 little ones that are raring to go, and they've already got half the pitch down. So they're coming down to Texas, and it'll be fun to hang out and just be a part of that. My one daughter was shopping online. We needed better mascot outfits or something. So we've got 30 mosquito hats coming or something. So that'll be kind of amusing. I don't know if they'll get here in time. They're supposed to ship sometime this week. So hopefully they show up and we can sweat at them in Houston.
Now, going back to the pandemic, you mentioned the robots that your team was like, hey, we're gonna kind of create this robot that can carry groceries from the store to somebody. I mean, whose idea was that?
So we knew school was closing. This was kind of a rapid thing. So we were having a meeting. It was the day before the day school was closing, like first hour. It was just the robotics kids just hanging out. They're like, the season's over and you're depressed, and what does this mean? And my year's over. It was a sad, tough time, and there was, there was talk of some teams just sitting around like, man, I wish we could do something to help. And like, what, you guys got all these skills. What can we do? And I think there were some teams starting campaigns like 3D print parts for hospitals and things, which is really cool. And I don't even know. It was just kind of sitting around, and someone said, yeah, like we could build like little robots to deliver groceries out to the car or something. It's like, actually, we could do that. And then the kids got all fired. Yeah, we should do that, right? And they were all fired up, and they ran down to the shop. We had like 6 hours, so the lock was shutting on the school, and no one was gonna be let back in, and all our tools, all our stuff down there. So they stripped down the top of the old t-shirt cannon robot we have for parades and slapped on some big old totes. It wasn't a pretty robot, but it was super functional. And then they had a drivetrain, and they just had some totes you just open up and put your money in, or your credit card, and then your list, and then we'd throw the groceries in them and drive them back out. Then just set up a cycle, like different kids, covered 3 communities. Literally it was built and shoved in the back of a kid's truck going home that day. And just set a schedule up for kids to do something there. I mean, all you're doing is sitting at home. So like, I want to go to the grocery store and deliver groceries. So it was a lot of fun. We ran it for about 2 months.
So that, I mean, everything happened really quick there. Like you were saying, like it's only like 6 hours. So you build the thing. It's in the back of a student's truck. Okay, awesome. You have this robot. You have this idea. How many phone calls did you have to actually like call these stores, and how many of them were just like, you want me to use a robot to do X, Y, Z? Like what was it pretty simple to get like a store to be like, yeah, come do that. That's awesome.
One of the beautiful things about small towns is you know everybody, and they're like, yeah, you want to do that? Sure, come on, you can sit here in a corner and do it, right? There's not, there's no one has to consult a lawyer or anything. It's just, show on up. That sounds like fun. So in Babbitt, we had a pretty good response. And it was just a hoot, different people's perspectives and things. Like you had the people coming in and old ladies coming in, and they lower their mask to talk in your face, when you're trying to sell, like, oh, we love what you're doing. You're like, I'm not sure I should be bringing kids in for this. And other people are walking in with handguns and stuff. And you're just like, this is crazy time. It was nuts. And then up in Tower, we're a little less busy, but that's because the firemen up there had already started doing delivery all their community. So you had, this whole network up in that community of like other ways for people to get their groceries, and they would actually drive them out to the house and leave them out on the porch and stuff, which was neat. And Ely, we just kind of parked outside. We missed a day because it was raining. But because it was less space in the doorway and things, but it was, small towns. Hey, Bob, can I come do this? Sure. Is Fred's kids coming? Yeah, great. I'd love to see them, so it was pretty easy to set that up. It was more of just permission and are we allowed to do this? And just figuring some of that out, stuff and schedules. But it was pretty good. And some kids had to stay home just because, family situations, and like the reservation, they locked down just to protect their older, like the keepers of their culture, right? Like it was a real threat because you lose certain people, like all this knowledge is lost. So they was locals only, shut down. So a few of the kids that helped build the robot, one of our seniors right now, he kind of helped put it together, but he had to stay home and stay on the sidelines just because that was what was needed to keep his community safe. We had a few other kids with some siblings with health problems and stuff. So, but everyone followed what was going on. There was not much else to pay attention to. So,
right. But no, I mean, just like you said, I mean, it's a heck of a story. It's a heck of a way to kind of, taking one heck of a lemon and making a pretty good thing of lemonade at that point. But now you're bringing up seniors and everything else. When you get the award, you're told, hey, no, you're going to the Worlds. I mean, I'm guessing you probably had those seniors, maybe not freshmen, but you've had the seniors for a little bit of time. How excited are they?
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, they're pumped. They're excited. I mean, I don't know if as a kid you win and you're thinking, yeah, that's just what we do. Does that make sense? Like I think it takes a few more years to just understand how special times are. Like kids go to state and sports, right? And they're just like, yeah, it's awesome and let's go have fun. And like you don't really know what a special experience that was until you're 30, 40. You see your kids struggling, like it's yeah. And I've got one senior right now. So super pumped, his family's pumped, so they're excited. It's just got to keep practicing and building robots and clean it up and keep going to school late nights. So yeah, well, I'll have to ask them. It's a good question.
Now, you brought up before where you were like, oh yeah, no, season's over, blah blah. Okay, no, we're going to Worlds. Besides the mosquito hats that are coming in, which everyone's super excited. Um, Anything else that is super like, hey, we got to do this, or we have to do maybe this to the robot? Anything massive like that, or is it all kind of, oh, we just got to make sure everything's fine?
um, yeah, so we had some chains. We tried to avoid pneumatics just for the extra weight. So we had like a sliding in and out the first week on a drawer slide because we had that in the shop and yanked it off of a tool chest. And that got smashed the first regional. That's the reason we couldn't really finish strong, is because it didn't function our last match because we rammed it into another robot in a wall, and drawer slides aren't meant to do that. So then we built like a linear slide for like like a CNC machine or something. You've got these like metal steel slide rails, and we built that, and that was better. But then the chain was slipping, and it just wasn't as consistent as we wanted. So the kids, and we had an arm on top, we just never had time to tune, and we're like, we're totally relevant doing this cube thing. Let's just remove. So we removed the whole top arm, we removed the whole intake system, and rebuilt and put on a pneumatic system that kicks out. It's a better design. Excuse me, and kicks out, and it's a lot faster in and out and more consistent. So it was pretty much design a new system for the robot, and then just something else we got to do. I mean, you got to get 25 kids to Houston, or some coaches, and 20 kids, 21 kids, and some coaches. That's a lot of plane tickets. There's a robot in a pit that's got to go down there. That's a lot of gas mileage. There's a week of hotel rooms. That's a big bill. So just put it in perspective, when we teachers raise money for prom, if we get $3,000 over the course of 4 or 5 years working with kids and as an advisor, that's really good. You can have a really nice prom. And to go to Worlds, you're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 and raised in like a month, that is a big ask. And it's been really nice. Just a lot of parents got involved, and the community support has been huge. I mean, the kids have been on the radio, they've been on TV, they've been in 4 papers. There's been sponsors calling us up saying like, hey, we want to help out. Just a lot of local support, and the community is proud of the kids. You do well and you see your kids like, hey, you can compete in this world and you can do good things, and go out there and show the world what the region's all about. Like it's awesome to see. Small community, right? Everybody, but then people know you and they want to help you succeed and be a part of that. And it's amazing how much support has come in. It's a lot of fun to see that come together.
Now, before I let you go, besides get to Worlds and the impact, what has been probably your favorite moment of this past year?
That's a tough one.
Too many moments?
Well, my favorite part of the season is always the start, when there's all these ideas and then there's all this like struggle of like, how are we going to attack this problem? And when you finally kind of start to come together on okay, this is what we're doing, and then it's just execution, trying to get it perfected after that, I enjoy that process. Like, that problem to solve is fun for me. The events and the tournaments, those are fun and exciting, and the music and things, but I love just seeing kids just struggle with the problem and propose different solutions and fall flat on their face, and then something works and it's like, it works. It's just that satisfaction, like you're like Frankenstein with it moves and it performs, right? Like that's my favorite part of every season.
Oh, absolutely. No, and kind of going on, like, to add on to that, outside looking in, it's and I've been saying this throughout the entire, I've been not even for a year. First time I was introduced to robotics was back in Alexandria. It is so much. The game's awesome. The robots are awesome. The students are fantastic, and I think a very well deserved for the Impact Award. So seriously, congratulations on that. That is fantastic. Congratulations on getting to Worlds. That's awesome. And thank you so much for your time.
Well, thanks for the interest. We have a lot of fun doing it, and hope more people can too.
Yeah. Well, make sure you're staying tuned. We'll be right back.
My name is Jared, born and raised in Minnesota, and I'm a project director at Enbridge. Enbridge is more than a pipeline company. It's a company participating in renewable energy projects in Minnesota and abroad, and I'm really proud to be working here.
We believe a cleaner energy future is achievable. For over 20 years, we've been early adopters of renewable energy, and we're proudly committed to net zero emissions by 2050. To hear more from Jared, visit enbridge.com/Jared. That's JERRID.
This year, Schrupp Excavating is celebrating 40 years of digging it right. With this milestone year, Schrupp Excavating wants to thank all of their past, current, and future employees and customers. They appreciate all you've done to help Schrupp Excavating become one of the most trusted companies in the Lakes area. For any excavation project, Schrupp Excavating will have your project done right and on time, serving Pine River, Bacchus, Pequot Lakes, and all the surrounding communities. Schrupp Excavating LLC. Online at schruppexcavating.com.
The PRB Boosters are happy to sponsor coverage of the Tigers. Like them on Facebook for events and fundraisers. The PRB Boosters could use your help. Be part of great events and fundraisers, all built to give back and present more opportunities for the students of Pine River Bacchus schools. For information or to get started, email prboosterclub1.com. Meetings are the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the school. Good luck, Tigers, from the PRB Boosters.
And a special thanks to Ryan Lindsay of the Iron Mosquitos for joining Jack for that great conversation. Always great to see the impact that these robotics teams can make an impact in their community, both inside and out. But again, a special thanks to Ryan Lindsay for coming on. But now we're going to pass things over. I got a chance to sit down with Jeremy Culleton, mentor for F.R.E.D at 2883. Here's my conversation with Jeremy earlier today. And joining me now, mentor for F.R.E.D at 2883. Jeremy Culleton joining me. And Jeremy, one, thank you for joining me. And two, congratulations on, your team making it to states here, especially, for your team. And I asked it to the girls there, especially too, but, from where you guys saw the game initially and seeing that at first to where they are now at this point, what's the journey been like for you as a mentor and being able to watch them?
It's exciting, like a lot of the kids are coming in with different ideas and wanting to be better, which is always a plus. So trying to improve on our robot, trying to improve things, it gets to be long days, long hours. So as they start to move forward in their design and different iterations, and then wanting to add things to the machine, like talking about buddy climbers and talking about different things just to compete at that state level. And the world level, like at that national championships, is you know that you have to be faster, that you have to be a little bit better. But when you look at state specifically, there's only 4 teams instead of 8 alliances. We only have 4 alliances, and You can't pick from the top 4, so that makes it a little bit different as well. So you're going to have those 4 teams are going to be awfully strong, I think, as you start to move forward. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how robots change from now even to the state tournament, and even now to the Houston championships. It'll be interesting to see how those robots all change.
Yeah, and that's the other aspect of it too, is that, from different events, you get to see different competitors. For you, what are some of the more interesting designs that you guys have seen, and maybe anything that you guys might have tried to implement based on, some of these different teams and some of these different designs that you've seen?
I noticed like a lot of them are picking from the side stations or from the dual stations still. Like you look at some of the best in the world and you're looking at the cheesy poofs and that, and they're picking up from that end, but everything is so automated. They have different arms moving at the same time, and so looking at some of those things are how we can speed up. We looked on early at a ground pickup and trying to pick up off the ground at that side station. So, implementing a mechanism like that so that we can still pick up off the end like we have in our previous 2 events, but being able to pick up off that side station and moving a little bit quicker. One of the defenses that came into play at lacrosse was we'd have the cones standing upright. They had knocked them over at the beginning of the game, and then that took us out of play a little bit. So building a ground pickup was a priority going into Worlds. So that's something that we are implementing today and finalizing actually today. So we'll get to see that at Worlds, and I think that'll make a big difference in a lot of that play. Buddy climbers, watching teams that are coming in with a buddy climber and coming off the side and then tipping themselves up. It's kind of in our back pocket right now, so we're kind of working on that as well. So looking at some of those designs and trying to transfer them over to us, I think is key. We were lucky enough to end up with a faster swerve module here going into Worlds, and so we implemented that, which brought us from the 12 feet per second up to the 16.8 feet per second. So huge differences there. So changes a lot of different things with the autos and different things like that. So we've been busy looking at that as well.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it, especially. And, Jeremy, for you too, getting a chance to see a few of these different events, few of these different competitions, what's an aspect of the game that you think might have been overlooked a little bit going in, that might have been more difficult than people might have anticipated?
I just think picking up the cones off the ground is harder than what we thought it was going to be. And then to figure out how do you orient them. I think that was a lot of people thought, oh, well, it'll be like a ball. We'll just come in and we'll pick them up and we'll be able to make it move. And some of the teams that are doing it, I still don't know how some of them are doing it, but it's amazing to see them just kind of drive over them. So ours is a little bit different than that because we're still utilizing what we had before. So we're looking at picking them up from a certain way and a certain aspect. And I think that's kind of a key. There's lots of talk about, well, the tipped over cones don't matter. But I think if you can save yourself 20 feet of distance traveling back and forth, I think they become a big issue. So I'm kind of looking at that a little bit. One of the other things is the triple climb at the end. I think that's going to be the difference maker as we go into Houston and into state in Minneapolis. I think that if you don't have a triple climb, you can't compete at the highest level.
And, with you guys competing in both there, especially too, having that quick turnaround, especially going from Worlds, having that couple of weeks, then getting ready for state there as well. Do you almost think that having that level of competition first, going over to Worlds, and then you get the state level as well, do you think that also helps build that confidence too, having the win at Grand Forks?
I think so. I think that was, it kind of lets you play around with different mechanisms a little bit, and you weren't scared to take some chances. So I think that helped us going into lacrosse and trying a couple things. And now with this big move to Houston and then back to state, I think that'll happen again. Like I know a couple of years ago when we were in Recycle Rush, we came back from Houston and we were like, oh, we got to do this. And then we did that and we competed at the state level as well. It just made a difference seeing what other robots are doing. And then you think, oh, that's so simple. Why didn't we think of that? So, hopefully we can come out of there with a couple of those ideas, but you never know.
And then another aspect of this, obviously, is that, you've been doing this as well as a mentor as well. And I asked this to the girls too, but, there's always different aspects of the season that you'll remember, especially, but, whether it's the actual events or whether it's something small behind the scenes and, building something together too. What are some of your favorite memories from this season, especially, or some favorite stories?
Well, the Grand Forks tournament, obviously, being a 7 seed and knocking off the 2 and the 1 seed, that just doesn't happen very often, right? So kind of a sweet victory. And then to do it with Greenbush, which we do a lot of things with and kind of partner up. But that's actually who we're traveling with to Houston with and stuff like that. So us and 876 and Greenbush are sending our robots down in a U-Haul together. So it's kind of fun to be able to play with your friends and to win with your friends. Obviously, that was kind of fun. Probably for me is just sitting back and watching the pits and what's happening in the pits. It's awfully nice to see our mentors standing back and watching the kids work on robots and doing the work for them. So that I always take a lot of pride in that, and to watch our drive teams and those working together and not have a lot of influence from our mentors is kind of fun sometimes. So proud of the kids, just the amount of time that they put in and the amount of time that they put into design and spending all that extra time outside of school is a huge commitment. So, those are always fun moments for me as a coach and as a mentor. So, it's cool to see those things. I think my favorite thing about F.R.E.D is still watching mentors from industry come in and work with students. It's a whole different aspect from a teacher standpoint. You get to watch them work with those students. And I think that's the most enjoyable part for me as a mentor.
All right, Jeremy Culleton of F.R.E.D at 2883 joining me. Jeremy, best of luck to you guys at Worlds. Best of luck to you guys at States. Definitely going to be looking forward to talking with you guys coming up here soon. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot. Sure appreciate it.
And special thanks to Jeremy of F.R.E.D as well as Rosalind and Kaylee of F.R.E.D as well. Again, 2883. And also the conversation that Ryan Lindsay had with Jack. Again, Ryan Lindsay of the Iron Mosquitos, 5653. Great conversation all around, of course. And as always, you can catch more of those great conversations when these videos go live every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Make sure you want to go ahead, subscribe to yourliveevent.com, as well as check out our website as well for all the latest episodes, and go ahead and see the archives here of what we've done when it comes to yourliveevent.com. As always, we are powered by Enbridge, and special thanks to them. For Jack, I'm Mac Robinson. Special thanks to all of you for tuning in and our sponsors as well. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.